Previously on Gladden TV.
This should only be momentarily and temporarily, you know? This should just be a stepping stone, not the way of life. What's up, y'all? Another day in the life of Gladden TV. So I've been just working out, ducking the BS. I haven't really been making any videos. Who cares, right? But recently ran another marathon. It was my 4th marathon in a row, starting from the year 2023, and here we are now in 2026. So yeah, I did 23, 24, 25, and then 26. I want to say this was my toughest marathon that I've ever ran, mainly because I was sick. I've been healthy all year, and when it came down to me, you know, running the marathon, a couple days before it commenced, I got sick. Not really bad, but pretty bad. To the point where it's not that I couldn't breathe, but I couldn't breathe correctly. So going into the marathon, that played a toll. I have not completed my goal of just running a full marathon under 4 hours. Like I said, the one I just recently ran felt like a torture chamber the entire time. I had no dog in me, but yeah, I did it in about 4 hours and 47 minutes. Like I said, I would run the first one all over again, the one I did in 2023. I would run the second one I did in 2024, the third one in 2025, but I would not want to run this one all over again because it was hell. But yeah, I just been buying as much as I can for as little as I can. What? Cryptos, DigiByte in particular. That's kind of it, really. You know, I just been, like I said in the beginning, just working out, ducking the BS. And just trying to pay attention to what's going on, if not in the world, but at least on social media platforms that dish out what they consider news. What I've been observing is the fact that, to a degree, right? Take this with a grain of salt. I feel like sometimes things, when I say things, I'm talking, just read what I'm trying to say. Everything is to throw you off the scent of what's real. You know how like a dog might sniff around and try to find the scent to, let's just say, someone who is considered the bad guy. Imagine a police dog, right? Everything is to throw you off the scent of what's real. An example would be, let's just say, the Black Panther Party, right? A lot of us might not know what the Black Party was, but I'll just try to give my best version of what I think it was. So it was created to basically keep the neighborhood safe of African Americans in the late or early 70s. There was a lot of racism going on, and it didn't end well. You know, people like Huey P. Newton, and yeah, I'll leave it at that. Yeah, basically there was a lot of police that would come into, you know, let's just say African American neighborhoods and kind of just do whatever they wanted, you know, bully, things of that nature. But there was a group of people who decided one day, hey, let's start learning the laws. Hey, let's start learning policy. Let's take, not the status quo, let's just take what is allowed and flip it. And, you know, that's kind of like the basis of the Black Panther Party, you know. But today, if you were to say anything Black Panther, mind you, I'm still talking about throwing you off the scent of what's real. But like I said, if you say Black Panther today, you might start thinking of Wakanda, T'Challa, things of that nature, you know. Even take like Hannibal Lecter, or like there was a real person, if I'm not, named Hannibal, that, you know, did what he had to do to survive in extreme weathers. But the movie 300, the Spartans and things of that nature. But yeah, I say that to say, what's real is, like I said, what's real seems to be what's not in style, or at least people that are in the know don't want you to know about something that could potentially upset the natural balance of things. Like, I've been hearing about, you know, let's just say being able to take out collateral, taking out basically loans from your certain cryptocurrencies, specifically on like Coinbase, right? You could take a loan against your crypto. You never have to sell. Doesn't that sound familiar? And most recently, something to do with like houses, mortgages, if I'm not mistaken. Doesn't that sound familiar? And it's all happening right now, today, in current times, in real time. You know, the DigiDollar, let's talk about that. That just happens to have a projected launch of May 1st, if I'm not mistaken. It will May 1st be the deadline before you know, for you to run out and scoop up as much DigiByte as you can? Probably not. And I base this off of different cryptocurrencies or communities that I've probably been involved with in the past. You know, it's not gonna be, you know, May 1st is not doomsday, but at the same time, maybe you do want to get a little bit, you know, even if it's $5 worth, you know, $20 worth. But just look into that, you know, for those who aren't aware. Look into what the DigiDollar does. Look at how revolutionary it can be. Look at how long DigiByte itself has been running. Look at the community if you can. If I'm not mistaken, a lot of the spaces, and that's like it's basically like a live podcast, if you want to call it that. Those basically, I believe 2 to 3 happen at least weekly on X, formerly known as Twitter. So I would look for that, you know, see what these people are talking about, you know, get to know the person who's talking. But yeah, I've said it before and I'll say it again. You know, what you won't do, the next person will do. And that's just the way it is. And I'll say this too. This whole Arizona bill, it's not catered to DigiByte, but at one point, let's just say DigiByte was the center of attention for it. The reason why is because I believe the bill was modified, or if I'm not mistaken, but when it first came out, it basically promoted DigiByte because it only highlighted Bitcoin, XRP, and DigiByte, or specifically in this order: Bitcoin, DigiByte, and XRP, along with stable coins. If I'm not mistaken, XRP has its own stable coin, or at least Ripple. I'm not really sure how that works, but we know DigiByte's been working on its stable coin, at least the development team. And if I'm not mistaken, it will be the first decentralized UTXO blockchain stablecoin, backed 1-to-1 by the underlying asset, which is DigiByte. But yeah, so it was highlighted, and a lot of people, specifically XRP influencers, based on what I've saw, kind of shitted on it, you know. And that's cool. They would say things like, why is this here? Why is that here? But, and I'm not jumping around, but after seeing the movie Inception, I know a little thing about Inception. You know, it took somebody to create this bill, and then it took somebody to, let's just say, if the bill came out on a Thursday, it took them, let's just say, a week or a couple of days to come out and say, hey, we should modify this. We don't want to make it seem like, you know, we have favoritism towards these specific coins because they have their own, you know, because they have something to, it's in their best interest, let's just say that. But the idea was already implanted. What is DigiByte? You've seen Bitcoin, you've seen XRP all over CNN, all over Fox News, all over whatever news station that promotes crypto, but you've never seen DigiByte. And if you have, it was probably years ago. So the idea, the inception, and this could have been for the people at Ripple Labs. What is DigiByte? You know? Let me search this up. Let me go to their X page, or let me go to their Wikipedia page, or let me just go to their .org page and see exactly what this is. Oh, they're working on something called the DigiDollar. Oh wow, they have something called Dandelion. Oh wow, what is this? They have 5 algorithms. They've only been out since 2014. Wow, interesting. Oh wow, they also have something called DigiID. This is the people at Ripple Labs, right? And I'm not speculating, but I'm speculating, and I'm just trying to paint this picture, right? But what about your Michael Saylors of the world? You know, the ones who, let's just say, are the face to a degree of Bitcoin, because they have something called the Bitcoin strategy. You don't think he or she or somebody from his team might have seen that bill that came out that spread like wildfire and said, wow, what is this DigiByte thing? Why are they bringing up that? I wonder how the Bitcoins, I wonder how MicroStrategy or Michael Saylor can utilize DigiByte if they were to implement the same strategy that they're using with Bitcoin, but using it for DigiByte, but also taking those profits or using the DigiDollar to, you know, increase their Bitcoin holdings. And this goes back to the Ripple Labs. I wonder how they can utilize the escrow that they normally monthly have to sell. I wonder how they can utilize the DigiDollar to, you know, for their best interest. Interesting. But yeah, the movie Inception gave me that idea. But yeah, I'll say this.
Don't forget your phone.
Because I gotta
Please,
get
or
going.
wallet.
I'm in a Waymo right now. An autonomous car. Yeah, the future is here. Buy as much as you can for as little as you can. And because you always won't have the job, the finances, the resources, the will, or in some cases the skill to do so. Stay solid, stay grounded, stay vigilant, and never forget what it smells like to know the truth. And with that said, I'm out.